guys, it's Lynn here. Hope you're having an incredible day. Now guys, today's video, I've got the most tiniest, the most minuscule, the most daintiest, cutest little cactus seedling you're ever likely to see. And this is a Corypantha macromeris, commonly nicknamed the Donana cactus. And it is actually a little tiny seedling that I grew myself from seed that came from Keith Groovyman 1968 here on YouTube. And I did sow a few of the seeds. He sent me a lovely fruit pod from his plant. This was last year now, and I sowed the seed, and they did, a lot of them germinated, but sadly I grew them in the grow bags, the actual zip-up lock bags, which helps to keep fungal infection at bay. But they actually developed them horrible, annoying fungus gnats. How they got in the bag, I don't know. So I had to take it out of the bag, and unfortunately they attacked the roots, and I'm just left with this little tiny one now. So what I'm going to be doing, I can't leave it in this soil. Also, this pot is too big for this tiny seedling because there's always a chance that the plant could rot if it's in too large of a pot. So what I'm going to be doing is taking this tiny little seedling out and actually then transplanting it into a really tiny little pot, into fresh soil, to make sure there's none of them annoying fungus gnats left behind, because fungus gnats don't tend to be a problem with mature plants. They're more of an annoyance. They're them little flies you see hovering around on the top of the surface of your plants. I don't tend to get them very often, thank goodness, because we use loam-based soils, and I've noticed a big difference since using that instead of peat-based soils. But again, it only minimalises, it doesn't stop it. So unfortunately, I still had the dreaded little flies. So this little one hopefully will make a good recovery, and hopefully I can save this tiny little fella. It is so cute, guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out and put it onto a little white plate so you can have a bit more of a look at it. And I'm going to pot it into a tiny pot. Now obviously you cannot get pots much smaller than what it's already in. So Hansi's gone upstairs to try and find if you can find anything really tiny, like an old bottle top or something, that we can drill a couple of holes in and then plant the seedling in there. So it's only in a little tiny container. I'm going to be putting it then back upstairs in the under the grow lights in the plant room to see if it can recover. Now guys, Hans is very clever, got an old bottle from upstairs, an old top, and drilled 4 little holes in it. It's absolutely brilliant. So as you can see, that's a much smaller size. You would not get a pot that small anywhere else. So that's going to be far better than having it in a bigger pot. Reduces the chance of rotting, and that's going to work a treat there. Now, just show you this little fella here, just a case of literally getting him out of the pot. Now he's so tiny, I'm just going to show you his miniature. Look at that, guys. He really is so tiny. And as I say, we're moving the all of that off, so there's no, look at the tiny little root. He's miniature, isn't he? What a cutie. Look at that. He's really so tiny. Just make sure that there's none of the old soil, or less as the old soil left as possible, without trying to disturb the roots. With seedlings, I would never normally transplant this on at such a tiny stage. I'd normally wait till it was much bigger, but because the soil is no good, and as far as I know, there's no traces of any of them flies gone, but flies left, but we cannot risk it, so that soil is going to have to go away. And that's the little baby one there. And then what I do, obviously me and Hansi, we mix our own cactus and succulent soil up. And this is what we've got here for the mix here. We use Johnin's number 2 and mix it with extra perlite. Or sometimes we use grit and sand, depending on what we're growing. We add a bit of extra horticultural sand to the mix, and perlite as well. And there's a link up above to a video on how to make your own cactus and succulent soil, guys. It is far more economical to make your own than it is to buy ready mixed. And let's get going then. I'm going to fill up this little tiny pot and then transplant this little baby. Now that's the pot, the tiny little pot, all planted up. And as I say, it's well drained, so that's going to help this little fella. And obviously when it's potted up, as with all young seedlings, I won't be giving this any water at all for a good while. It's literally just spraying it with a little bit of rainwater with a plant spray, just to stop it from drying out. And obviously this is so tiny. See the little tiny root system, tiny little hole in there, and then gently gently pressing down. As I say, I would never transplant up seedlings this young normally, but because obviously it's been under attack from the flies, it's having to be potted up. Isn't it cute, guys? Oh, it's adorable. And as I say, this is the only one surviving out of the ones I germinated. So it's sad. This was germinated actually last year. In fact, it's got it on here. Seed sown May the 20th, 2017. So it's such a cute. It's got little spines on it. It is adorable. I'm gently tucking it in there. And as I say, all I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be leaving this exactly as it is now. I'm not going to be giving this any water, because it's still obviously February, but because it's a seedling, it's important the roots doesn't dry out completely. So I'm going to be leaving it dry for a good while, and then just gently spraying it with a little bit of rainwater just to stop it from drying out and get it established into its tiny new pot. And fingers crossed for this little fella, guys. Hopefully it will go on to make a big recovery. And as I say, it's going up in the plant room under the grow light, so it's going to get lots of light, lots of heat, and lots of love. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And this is the tiniest little cactus potting on video you've ever seen. I'm not sure. It's certainly the tiniest little plant I've ever had to pot up. As I say, I don't normally repot seedlings this young, but sometimes you have to do emergencies if the soil or whatever is not looking good. So let's make sure it's gently potted up. So there you go, guys. I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power. As always, from Northern Ireland. Until the next video, guys. Bye.